already we discussed about the third unit of frequency domain analysis in control system engineering. So under that one, so already discussed the RH criteria. Now go for root locus techniques. So both our RH criteria as well as root locus techniques are used to determine the stability of a closed loop system. That is nothing but moment of the poles. So it will determine the easily moment of the closed loop poles. So at the starting, root locus technique is determined by scientist Develar Evans in 1948. So for determining the stability of a closed loop poles. Generally, what is root locus is nothing but root locus is a graphical representation. So graphical representation of the closed loop poles. So whereas gain is varying from 0 to infinity. Generally, the gain is nothing but k value. The gain value is varying from 0 to infinity. Nothing but k value is positive. Otherwise, the root locus is a graphical representation. So gain is varying from minus infinity to 0. So totally, the root locus technique is a graphical representation of the gain is varied, that is k value is varied from minus infinity to plus infinity. Generally, the gain k value is varied from 0 to infinity. So this is nothing but root locus technique, root loci you can call as. Otherwise, the k value is varied from minus infinity to 0, which is called as contour root loci. Now the complete root locus is nothing but sum of these two. So the root locus is the k value is varied from minus infinity to infinity. Simply say that the root locus technique may be utilized to determine the moment of the closed loop poles in j omega axis or s plane, such that we have to determine the k value and also stability of a particular system. Generally, what is the main features of root locus system is nothing but main features or advantages. First of all, it will determine the k value with a range of 0 to infinity. Another one, it will determine the stability of a closed loop system. So another one, third one, it will determine the maximum value of k. Maximum value of k, that is nothing but maximum value of k or the range of k. So it may be stable or unstable or marginally stable. That will clearly describe with the help of root locus techniques. Simply say that it is a graphical representation of locus diagram with gain value varies from 0 to infinity. We are taking this one is in general we are taking 0 to infinity, that is nothing but k value is positive. So now we will go for the construction of root locus technique. Construction rules, root locus. How can you draw a graphical representation of root locus diagram is nothing but based on these rules. So first rule is, the root locus diagram is symmetric about real axis. That is nothing but, j omega axis by s plane is nothing but, it will drawn between sigma, this is real axis, and j omega axis. Now we have to draw the root locus diagram. So with respect to real axis, that is nothing but, totally symmetrical about this one only. That is the first rule of root locus diagram. And second one is, generally the root locus diagram will start at any number of poles and it will terminate maybe zeros or infinity. That is nothing but suppose the open loop system g of s is equal to s plus 2 by s plus 3. Suppose they given like this. So you can get it as, this is minus 3 and s is equal to minus 2. This is. So the root locus starts always from the poles and also it will terminate 0 like this. It may be terminate like this. So simply say that root locus diagram always starts at the poles and it may be ending either zeros or either infinity. So that is the second rule. And say that how many number of poles is there and how many zeros are there. So in a open loop transfer function, nominator will tell us about the number of zeros and denominator will tell us about the number of poles. So that means s plus 2 equal to 0, s plus 2 equal to 0 and s plus 3 equal to 0, s is equal to minus 2 is the 0 and s is equal to minus 3 is the pole. So that is number of poles and number of zeros. And also how many root locus branches are there? That is nothing but root locus branches equal to here. So it is P when P greater than Z and it is Z when Z greater than P. That is nothing but number of root locus branches exist in a root locus diagram is nothing but depending upon the number of open loop poles and open loop zeros. If number of poles are greater than the number of zeros, so we can say that number of root locus branches is equal to number of open loop poles. Otherwise, zeros are greater than the poles is nothing but number of root locus branches is equal to number of open loop zeros. And third rule, root locus axis, otherwise root loci axis. Root loci axis means how many branches are existing in the root locus diagram and how many branches are not existing in the root locus branch diagram. Suppose I am taking g of s is equal to so s k by s into s plus 1 into s plus 2. So now k by s into s plus 1 into s plus 2. Now I am taking s plane. So this is j omega axis. So real axis. Now I have to put s equal to 0. This is one pole, s equal to minus 1. This is another pole, s equal to minus 2. So minus 2, minus 1, this is. So now minus infinity. How can you say that how many root locus branches are existing in the root locus diagram is nothing but take one point. So suppose I am taking s equal to 0 point. So now add all zeros and poles. That is nothing but sum of zeros and poles. So right side of this point it must be odd number. Then we can say that so a root locus branch is existing. Otherwise, suppose if it is even number, so it is root locus branch is not existing. Suppose I am taking 0. So from this 0 point. So right side of the 0 point there is no poles and zeros. That's why so there is no branch existing in the right side of the S plane. Now I am taking minus 1 point. So sum of zeros and poles right side of the minus 1 point is nothing but only 1 point, that is 0. So that 1 is the odd number. So root locus branch is existing. Coming to the minus 2. So right side of the minus 2 point. 2 poles are there. 2 poles is nothing but so it is a even number. So there is no branch existing between minus 1 and minus 2. Now I am taking infinity. At infinity, before that infinity, sum of poles and zeros is nothing but 3. So that is the odd number. So again here, so branch is existing. Now root locus branch is existing between s is equal to 0 and s is equal to minus 1. And also s is equal to minus 2 existing between s is equal to 0 and s is equal to minus 1, and also s is equal to minus 2, s equal to minus infinity. So 0 to minus 1 and also minus 2 minus infinity root locus branch is existing, and root locus branch does not exist in between minus 1 and minus 2. S is equal to minus 1 and s is equal to minus 2. So simply say that, so we have to select one point. before that point, sum of poles and zeros must be odd number, then only root locus branch is existing, otherwise root locus branch is not existing. So next, rule number 4, that is the asymptotes. That is nothing but how the root locus branch is going to infinite. That is nothing but sometimes root locus branch is existing, is starting 0 and ending at 0. Sorry, starting poles and ending at 0. That is nothing but in type of circle. And sometimes the root locus branch is going away. So along the asymptotes like infinity, plus infinity to minus infinity. So that is nothing but, so what is the angle of root locus? That is, we can say that asymptotes. Asymptote is nothing but mainly, so what is the angle of root locus going to, so infinite values, that is plus or minus 180 degrees. Theta is equal to plus or minus 180 degrees into 2q plus 1 divided by p minus z, where q is equal to 0, 1, up to p minus z minus 1. So plus or minus 180 degrees into 2q plus 1 divided by p minus z, where p is the number of open loop poles and z is the number of open loop zeros. So now from this we have to determine the angle of asymptotes. Asymptotes is nothing but, so the angle which is comes out of the real axis. So that is nothing but, the definition of asymptote is nothing but the angle which is comes out of the real axis is called angle of asymptotes by defining. So suppose if q is equal to 0, the angle of asymptote is suppose p equal to 3, z equal to 0. So now angle of asymptote is plus or minus 180 degrees into 0 plus 1 divided by 3, that is equal to plus or minus 60 degrees, like this you have to calculate it. So another rule is, so centroid is nothing but, so at one all asymptotes will comes into real axis, that point is called centroid. That is nothing but, suppose asymptotes will be like this 60 degrees, so minus 60 degrees, 180 degrees. So this point is called centroid. That is nothing but, a centroid is a point which is comes into the real axis. So that point is called centroid. So to calculate the centroid, the formula is sum of real parts of poles minus sum of real parts of zeros divided by p minus z. If it is a complex number or it is a real number, so take for the real part of poles, sum of real part of poles minus sum of real part of zeros by p minus z. Centroid is always a real number, and always located at real axis only. So next one is, so breakaway point. This is the most important point. So breakaway point or breaking point. Generally, breakaway point is nothing but a point which is comes out of the real axis is called breakaway point. A point which is comes into the real axis is called breaking point. The breakaway, breaking point, these two are related to the root locus diagram. That is, the main root locus diagram starts from the breakaway point or breaking point. So suppose is there any two poles? Suppose two poles are there, always a breakaway point will be existing. Suppose there is a two zeros on the real axis, always breaking point will be existing. That is nothing but, simply say that in between any two poles, one breakaway point is existing. In between any two zeros, one breaking point will be existing. Suppose multiple of poles, suppose multiple poles will be existing. So that is only one breakaway point is existing. Suppose multiple zeros will be existing, only one breaking point will be existing. So another one is, suppose the real axis contains 0. So after that one there is no pole or 0 existing, such that minus infinity will be taken as a 0, another 0, such that, so yeah, in this case minimum one breaking point will be existing. Simply say that the last point on the real axis is 0. So after that one there is no any point. Simply we can assume minus infinity is another 0, such that in between two zeros only one breaking point will be existing, like this. Suppose a pole will be existing last on the real axis and minus infinity will be taking as another pole. So in this time one breakaway point will be existing at least. So now how to find out the breakaway point is nothing but we can consider the characteristic equation, that is 1 plus g of s h of s equal to 0. We know that characteristic equation equal to 1 plus g of s h of s equal to 0. Suppose g of s is equal to, and this characteristic equation will be rearranged k equal to f of s form, and we can determine the dk by ds and then equating to 0. Now find out the roots of this one. So that is the breakaway point. Suppose for example, so g of s is equal to k by s into s plus 1 into s plus 2. Now characteristic equation equal to 1 plus g of s h of s equal to 0, taking as a unity feedback, that is h of s equal to 1. So that is 1 plus k by s into s plus 1 into s plus 2 equal to 0. So this is equal to s into s plus 1 into s plus 2 plus k equal to 0. So s square plus 2s plus 1s plus 2, that is nothing but s cube plus 3s square plus 2s plus k equal to 0. Now taking as a, so first ready the characteristic equation and then take a k equal to f of s, that is nothing but k equal to minus s cube minus 3s square minus 2s. Now we have to derive the k with respect to s. dk by ds is equal to minus 3s square minus 6s minus 2, that is equal to 0. So now, so 3s square plus 6s plus 2 equal to 0. Take the, so determine the roots of this equation. So suppose, so s is equal to minus 0.42 and s is equal to minus 1.57 approximately. So now we have to determine the, so which one is breakaway or breaking point. So taking this diagram, suppose the S-plane diagram is s is equal to 0, s is equal to minus 1, s is equal to minus 2. So 0, minus 1, minus 2. So from the third rule, so take a point 0. Before that one there is no poles or zeros, such that, so real axis right side of the S-plane is not any branch. Now taking a minus 1. So before that one pole is there, that is odd number. Here branch is existing. So minus 2. Before that one, two poles are there, so that is a even number. There is no branch existing between minus 1, minus 2. So taking as minus infinity as another pole. So three poles are there, that is, so branch is existing between minus 2 and minus 8. So branch is existing between 0 to minus 1, minus 2, minus 8. Now the breakaway, the roots of the equation is minus 0.42 minus 1.57. So 0.42, so here and 1.57 here. So 1.57 is not a root locus branch, that's why it is not valid. And 0.42 is a branch, root locus branch, that's why it is existing. So minus 0.42 is the breakaway point for this example only. Like this we have to determine the, so breakaway or breaking point. And next one is angle of departure or angle of arrival. So whenever the root locus diagram contains normal real poles or real zeros, there is no need to calculate the angle of departure and angle of arrival. whenever the root locus diagram, the root locus transfer open loop transfer function g of s will contains open loop complex poles and complex zeros, then only you have to calculate the angle of departure and angle of arrival. So whenever complex poles is available, you have to calculate the angle of departure, and whenever complex zeros is available, you have to calculate the angle of arrival. So angle of departure pi d equal to 180 degrees minus sum of pi p plus pi z, sum of pi z. So that is nothing but 180 degrees minus sum of vectors from the all poles from dominating pole, and another one sum of vectors of zeros. So suppose I am taking as s is equal to 0 s is equal to 0 and s is equal to minus 2 plus j3, like this, plus j3 and minus 2 minus j3. So for example, g of s is equal to k by s into s square plus 4s plus 13. We are taking as this example. For this one, s is equal to 0 1 pole, and s is equal to minus 2 plus or minus j3 is the another pole. This is a complex poles. So minus 2 plus j3 one pole, minus 2 minus j3 another pole. Now take this example to calculate the angle of departure. So taking s is equal to, I am calculating the minus 2 plus j3. So now from this so first of all, branch is there or not? We have not taken all these complex poles, that's why. So total negative relay axis is a branch, because of I am taking at minus infinity only one pole is existing, that is s is equal to 0. So we cannot consider complex poles, complex zeros while we are calculating the relay axis. So now I am calculating angle of departure at this pole. So taking a straight line, that is vector line from s is equal to 0, and taking another straight line from another pole, that is nothing but, so we have to calculate at this pole means we have to take all straight lines from remaining poles and zeros. Now this is exactly 90 degrees, so this is pi 2. So orthogonal, that's why it is 90 degrees. Now I have to calculate this one, this is pi 1. So generally this is 180 degrees, right? So now I have to calculate this one, this is theta pi 1. So that is nothing but pi 1 is equal to 180 degrees minus this portion, 180 degrees minus this portion. So total 180 degrees. 180 degrees, now we have to calculate pi 1 is nothing but 180 degrees minus this portion, this angle. This angle is nothing but tan inverse of opposite by adjacent. Opposite value, this is 3, adjacent value, this is 2. So tan inverse of 3 by 2. Now this will be maybe I think around 127.31 degrees. Now pi 1 is 127.31 and pi 2 is 90 degrees. So therefore angle of departure 180 degrees minus, so 127.31 plus 90 degrees. So this is around 37 degrees, 37.13 I think. So pi d. So angle of departure according to minus 2 plus j3 is 37 degrees. Now angle of departure according to minus 2 minus j3. So this is exactly minus of pi d minus 2 plus j3. That is nothing but minus of. So this is plus, because this is minus because 180 minus 90 plus 123. So that's why. Sorry. So 127.31 plus 90 is nothing but, so this value is negative. So negative of this one, positive value, 37.13 degrees. So this is pi d minus 2 minus j3. Exactly negative sign of the angle of minus 2 plus j3. First of all, we have to calculate one pole angle of departure. So exactly negative sign of another pole is nothing but, so angle of departure of another pole. So like this we have to calculate the angle of departure and angle of arrival also, because of, so complex zeros is arriving, so complex zeros are appearing, so we have to calculate the angle of arrival. So and last rule is intersection of imaginary axis. Intersection of imaginary axis. Why? Because the root locus sometimes may crossing like this. So this is nothing but j omega axis. So root locus may cross the j omega axis. What is the value of? So this crossing point and this crossing point we have to calculate. So generally it takes characteristic equation 1 plus g of s h of s equal to 0. So suppose I am taking one equation, that is k by s into s plus 1 into s plus 2, right? So the characteristic equation is s cube 3s square so 2s plus k equal to 0. So this is the characteristic equation. To determine the intersection point on imaginary axis, two methods are there. First method is go for RH criteria and determine the omega value. So otherwise, so put s is equal to j omega on characteristic equation and equating the separating the real terms and imaginary terms and equating to 0, determine the omega values. Put s is equal to j omega on this characteristic equation, j omega cube plus 3 j omega square plus 2 j omega plus k equal to 0. So we all know j cube equal to 1, j cube equal to minus j square is equal to minus 1, j power 4 is equal to j power 4 equal to 1. So now minus j omega cube minus 3 omega square plus 2 j omega plus k equal to 0. Now separating the real parts and imaginary parts. Real parts are minus 3 omega square plus k equal to 0. So k is equal to 3 omega square and minus j omega cube plus 2 j omega equal to 0. So that is omega cube is equal to 2 omega square is equal to 2, omega is equal to 2 root 2 radians per second plus or minus 2. Plus or minus root 2 radians per second. Root 2 is nothing 1.414. So you can j1. Suppose so this is j2. You can consider this 1.414 minus j 1.414. Like this, we have to calculating the intersection point on imaginary axis. So now substituting the omega square value. So k is equal to 6. So whenever k equal to positive value, then only this intersection point is existing. When k equal to negative value, intersection point is not existing. So in this way, we have to calculate the intersection point on imaginary axis. And last rule, this is we have to find out the k value, open loop gain value. So that k is equal to vector length of all poles from s equal to sd, dominant pole. Similarly, vector length of all zeros from s equal to sd. So by using this formula, we have to determine the open loop gain value. So these are all rules of the construction of root locus diagram. So by using all these rules, we have to determine the root locus, and also we have to draw the root locus diagram on normal graph sheet. We will taking as x axis is real axis and y axis as imaginary axis.